Shalom, shalom. This week's parsha is Parshat Va'etchanan, and it opens with Moshe pleading with God. He says to pass him over to the other side of the Jordan so he can see the land. And it's very interesting because he asks to see the land. He doesn't say, pass me over so that I can traverse the land, so that I can live in the land, so that I can be a leader for the people in the land. He says, pass me over so that I may see the land. God responds to him, it's too much for you that you're asking for. Stop talking to me about this. But then he goes to tell him that he will show him the land and to go up, and he tells him to look, and he shows him all of the land of Israel that the children of Israel will be inheriting. So I want to focus on this because also this parsha is, and the parsha comes full of the word re'eh, and it's, once you notice it, you see it all over the place. That really ties into this whole concept from the beginning, from Sefer Bereshit all the way here. But we'll just talk about what we want to talk about now, and that is that. Why is it talking about that he should see? What's this power of sight? And that God gives him the bigger part, I would say, of what he wants, which is to see the land. Now, why do I say that? I think Moshe said, pass me over and let me see the land. Of course, that would have been ideal. But if you look at Moshe's other very powerful request after the sin of the golden calf, he says to God he wants to be able to see God, to see his glory, and to understand his ways. Because seeing and understanding is inextricably linked. What we understand, what we perceive, is a conglomeration of the things that we've seen, and therefore our brain interprets this as our perception, and this becomes who we are. Our thoughts, our perception is who we are. And Moshe says, you began to show me your glory. And I think he's referring back to when he asked God this major request after the sin of the golden calf. And God says, you can't see all, no man can see all of me and live, meaning no man can perceive, can understand the fullness of God and live. If a man could, he would be God. This is not even within the concept of reality. But he says that he will hide him in the cleft of the rock, pass by, and then uncover, and Moshe can see him from the back. This can have so many interpretations, and it has its own there. But I think it has another interpretation that happens before death. Before death, when we're about to see and understand everything that happened within life, that God sort of protects us in this protective space until we pass over and can really see and understand so much more. And this is what's about to happen to Moshe. But back to what our parsha is talking about. Why does he want to see the land? What's important in this seeing of the land? And I think it also relates very much to Bilam and the parsha in Parshat Balak, where we're told Bilam was a Navi, a prophet for the nations on the level of Moshe Rabbeinu. So we can understand something in terms of prophecy and vision by looking at the two stories. And when Balak wanted Bilam to curse the nation, he takes him high up on a high vantage point to look down at the people, and once Bilam is looking at the people, he could potentially give a curse, which turns, or a blessing turned into a blessing. And it has something to do with seeing this capacity that we have, that we think is only internalizing things. But when we see something, we're not only internalizing it, it affects something that goes back out into the world. And Moshe, when he wants to see the land, perhaps this is in terms of blessing the land, blessing the people, blessing them with success, and for him to give over that blessing and to have that, he goes and he wants to see the land. Part of this, because it's all you see, this is intermeshed in the story where he's trying desperately to have the nation in their conquering the land, in their living land. He wants it to be a success, and he wants to do everything within his power that these people should have a successful residing in the land of Israel. So I think this part of why he wants to see it, and why God grants him this request, this selfless request, because it wasn't about him seeing it in that case, but also if we want to talk about it in terms of what happens to Moshe, a transformation, I think, that happens to him in seeing land is, and I think this is proven by his words. He says, "You begin to show me, God, how great you are. Please show me the land," because there would be an additional level of something that Moshe is perceiving to give him a greater understanding also of God and God's ways and what is. And this would attach him even closer to God before he is about to depart, his final departing. And I think I want to talk about something that's related tangentially, not integrally, but tangentially as well. And this is a part from it's from Sichot Haran, which is written by Rav Nachman, and it came across my Facebook feed the other day on I forget, some Torah group, and I found it very powerful, so I want to share it with you. And it goes like this in English translation: "Guard your thoughts very carefully, because thought can literally create living thing. The higher a faculty, the further it can reach. You can kick something with your foot, but you can throw it even higher with your hand. Your voice can reach even further, calling to someone far away. Hearing reaches further still. You can hear sounds like gunfire from a very great distance. Vision reaches even further. You can see things high in the sky. The higher the faculty, the further it can reach. Highest of all is the mind, which can ascend to the loftiest heights. You must therefore guard your mind and thoughts to the utmost." Okay, so I want to talk about this on two levels. First of all, in terms of what we were just saying with Moshe and him seeing the land and perceiving it and becoming part of his thought process as far as the blessing that he would give to Israel, it connects. But I think this is so powerful, and I think this is something that the bulk of population don't tap into. Is people think they are what they do physically. They underestimate the power of the mind, of how we see things, how we perceive things, and what that generates in this world. And I think this bit by Rav Nachman is explaining to us, we think, what's the harm? I have this thought, and or I see this thing, but it doesn't affect me. First of all, everything we see affects everything in our perception, in our being, and everything that we see so goes part into making how we perceive the whole outer world, and in addition, how we think about it, what we think about it, and that energy that's given off to the greater world. And we are what we think. So, first of all, obviously we don't want to put trash in our brain. We want to put good things that will help everything build and grow and love and put out everything that it would partner with God to making this world a better place. And so that's why I think this piece is very powerful. And if only everybody would understand that, and we can work on what we think. It's a skill, but it's very, very attainable. And if we can all do that, it starts there. It starts there with every person and how they think and how they perceive, and that's what they put out into this world. And that's who you become, and that's all that you take with you. Shabbat Shalom.